Okay, so this is the Align Trex 470L. This is the plastic version. I upgraded it with a metal set. As you can see here, I got a main head, metal. The bearing blocks all are also metal. I got this brace which holds, well, reinforces the engine. Also, on the tail, it's all metal. So I got a issue of tail oscillation, tail swag, or whatever you wanna call it. That whenever I spool up the engine, the tail will go side to side like this. Will go right from left, like like it needed some gyro gain. And that happened after I upgraded the tail with the metal set. With the plastic one, I didn't have that problem. It was all smooth. So it drove me crazy. I disassembled a whole tail. There's videos on the internet, but none of this specific model. So that's why I wanted to make this video. What people say the problem might be is after a crash. There's some something not installed correctly on the tail. You have to double check the belt, the pinion, also the main shaft if it's straight. You gotta also check the tail. But I didn't have that problem. I didn't crash it. I just upgraded the metal set. So the problem was that it has some play here on the metal which holds the blades. These two items, which I have the name here for it. Okay, so it's a metal tail rotor holder. So the play was actually in between the tail holder and the main shaft. What I did was I put a washer in between. I also tightened these small bolts, but there's a key. You don't have to super tighten it, because otherwise it's gonna seize. It's gonna be hard for the servo to move. You gotta you can put some grease in between the hinges. That's what I did. But you gotta be careful that you don't put the grease on the thread of the bolt, because otherwise the bolt may come undone, because this is a metal. The bolt goes onto metal, so you gotta put some thread locker. So you gotta be very careful, to put thread locker on the threads and to put some grease on the hinge. And after I did that, it fixed the tail oscillation. There's still a little bit like this, but it's really minimum. I think I can adjust it on the gyro gain, but I was reading that with the Beast X, you don't really need to adjust it, because these electronics does it all. It does it really good, actually. So for anybody of you out there that has this problem, double check your tail, especially after a crash or after you disassemble it, because this tail gotta be perfect without any play. There's no play at all. Also, you can help the oscillation, reduce it by moving the servo horn, actually the shaft, put it towards the middle of the servo horn. So in this case, let's say if you have like this, let me put a line on there. So if you have, say here, let's imagine there's another hole here on the left, and you have your link put on the center hole of the servo horn. You can help to give it more torque by moving it towards the middle. So in this case, what I did on that tail, well, you don't on the servo tail, you don't really see because it's in there, is that I put the link I unscrew the link and put it in the hole that is nearest to the center. So in that situation, it's going to help the servo move the tail faster. Also, another problem that I have with the servos here on the head, I had to replace the rotor servo. As you can see there, it's a XTS if I don't remember correctly, because the aligned stock servo, which is this one, it was malfunctioning. So what I hear is that the stock servos on the Align, it's not really great. They don't last a lot. So my plans are to change this servo as well, and also the two remaining servos on the head. Okay, so if you have that tail swagging or tail oscillation, check your bolts. Check there's no play before you go any crazy like I was. There's nothing to on the radio. This is the radio that I use. It's a Futaba T6. It's really does really well. I have no complaints. Check the bolts, like I said. Check the servo. Check the play on all bolts. Check also have any damage on the blades, because that's gonna come into account, because it's gotta be well balanced for it to don't have any vibrations or oscillations. And check the servo before you put on the servo linkage. Check with your finger that the movement of the mechanism of the tail is really smooth, that you don't have any rough movement or hard movement, because that's gonna be that's gonna go onto the servo movement, which is gonna decrease it and probably damage it in the long run. Okay, so I'll do a little more videos about it, because I've been having some issues setting up this heli. I've been doing it for probably a month or two. Just wanted to do it for the tail oscillation, because I couldn't find anything on the web. So I hope that really helps. If you have any questions, just put it in the comments. If I know the answer, I will be happy to help you. Thanks.